Coming up on NFL Primetime, the Bills had the thermostat on high. The passing game working, the Defensive Player of the Year ready to go. But Dan Marino answered the call. There will be no walk in the park for Miami. In Philly, the Eagles have landed, but then they took right off. The Gray Rhodes goes for postseason win number 1. The ride a little rougher for the Lions as Rasputin look for one more win. And Scott Mitchell look for anyone. NFL Primetime is next. Everybody, welcome to NFL Primetime, first round of the playoffs. Happy almost New Year to you. Chris Berman along with Tom Jackson and Joe Theisman for the playoffs. Yes. We brought you in to help analyze all the close games. What are you doing here?
I'm going to leave. How's that?
What are you doing here? Wow. We figured that everything was so close in the playoffs. Not yet. Well, where do we start? We start where it seems that we have always started or at some point gone through in the AFC. If Dallas and San Francisco define the NFC rivalries of the 90s, there is no question that Buffalo and Miami define the rivalry of the AFC in the 90s. For the 15th time in 6 seasons, these two teams met at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. It's a series that, unfortunate for Don Shula, Dan Marino and company, has been very lopsided Buffalo's direction. They just played there 2 weeks ago when Brian Cox had some fun with the fans, shall we say. No one knew who he was early. Marvel Levy 16-6 lifetime against Don Shula. So first series for Miami, they run, they go nowhere. They pass to Eric Green. He was horrible. Dan Marino throws into the wind. A wobbler. First 2 series, 7 plays, 7 yards, 2 punts for Miami. So after the first Miami punt, the Bills get the ball. And Jim Kelly to Steve Tisker at Tasker. They open up throwing for 9 yards. We said they have to run. Oh, second play, they'll run for 6 yards. Thermal Thomas was immense. Then Kelly to Tisker at Tasker for 7 yards. What a weekend for him, being a Northwestern grad. 2 plays later, Kelly to Jim Tasker, and Andre Reed is just a cheerleader. Tasker down to the 1. 45 of the 58 yards on the drive go to Tasker's hands, but the touchdown goes to Thurman Thomas. 6 straight games that he's had a touchdown in the postseason, Tom.
Yeah, lower left of the screen there. Jerry Ostrowski on Brian Cox, and they did a great job on him all day, Boom.
Well, here's Glenn Parker, one of the tackles, rolling the Dolphin would-be tackler. Thurman in the first half out. Game, the Dolphins 113-52 on the ground. Second drive ended with a Steve Christie field goal, one of 3 he had today. 10-0 Buffalo. Next series for Miami, and look at the play here. The semi-shovel, it's a drop, it's awful, it's a punt. Bruce Smith and company getting some pressure. Then Steve Tasker after the punt went all the way down to the 1. Buffalo starts their drive, and Joe, here's the fake end around to give it to Brooks.
Well, what you do is you show him the same thing you showed him last time you played him, then you add a little wrinkle. That was the wrinkle. Bring Brooks around.
Billy Brooks runs it downfield, then Kelly to Tasker. 26 yards more, and Tom Olivedani, defensive coordinator Miami, says, whack. Well, watch what happens here. John Fina, look at the speed, number 7, boom, to Lewis Oliver. Thermal with 30, that's Derek Holmes with 34 yards. Where is the tackling? Now they switch over to the second quarter, and maybe fortunes change. Gene Atkins makes the pick on a bizarre throw by Jim Kelly, Joe.
It's not so bizarre. Jim's trying to make a play. What he does is he scrambles to the right, trying to bring the defense, looks over there, but he can't find Atkins. Hey, look at that, Chris. A Dolphin caught something.
Well, it's 10-0, so maybe the fortunes would change, but Tommy Cornelius Bennett was right in.
Untouched, although they didn't get the sack, they got what they wanted, the pressure in Marino's face.
And they also got what they wanted on the ground with Thermal Thomas, and watch what happened. The hardest hit by a Miami defender all day was made by the defensive coordinator, Tom Olivedani, right there. They talked. Thurman said, I'm sorry. Olivedani said, you're a heck of a back. Later on, Thurman said, I had to agree with him. 2 plays later, it's the youngster, Derek Holmes. So what kind of run is this?
What a great run. Look at the feet. He always keeps his feet moving toward the goal line, and there he is in.
7th round pick from Portland State makes it 17-0 Bills. Next drive, Marino hit by Phil Hansen. That girl, Marlo Perry, makes the pick. And the Buffalo defense stymieing Dan Marino and the Miami offense. 2 plays later, Kelly, a Tasker, a touchdown, 37 yards, 24-0. Tasker caught balls for 108 yards today. He had never had a 100-yard season in his previous 10 seasons. Now, the second leading rusher for the Dolphins today was John Kidd. Problem is he's a punter. First time they went to Irving Fryer today was when O.J. McDuffie threw it on a wide receiver toss. What is wrong with this picture? 24-0 Bills at the half. Third quarter, doink, and into the hands off Marino to Bryce Pop. This is the way it went. Then Kelly to Thurman Thomas. Across the middle for 15 yards. 27-0 Buffalo after 3 quarters. Then Tim Tyndale. You remember him, the winner of the Heck Crichton Award, the Canadian Heisman Trophy Award twice. Tyndale, a touchdown, combined with Christie, also from Canada, his 3 field goals and 4 extra points. The Canadians outscore the Americans 19-18. But Terry Kirby plunges in. The Dolphins get an onside kick, 37-22 late. But wouldn't you know it, another pick. This time it's Ken Irvin picking off Dan Marino. 3 picks today. Jim Kelly and the Bills in a score that wasn't nearly as close as this game was, 37-22. The Bills all over the Dolphins. The amazing number of the day, 341 yards rushing by the Buffalo Bills. And the 341 yards rushing by the Bills, of course, the bulk of it done by Thurman Thomas, 158. Holmes had 87, and Tyndale had over 60. It sets a record, the second most ever yards rushing in the postseason. Only the Bears in 1940, when they won 73-0, had more rushing yards than the Bills, 341 today. After the game, both locker rooms.
Any way you look at it, they were at playoff level and we were at preseason level, and they kicked our butt.
Don't really know what to say other than we just got our butt kicked all the way around, offense, defense, everything.
We just couldn't generate anything offensively. We couldn't convert any third downs to get drives going, and defensively we just couldn't slow them down. The things that we had hoped for would be that we could play better run defense and slow Thurman Thomas down and somehow take Kelly out of his rhythm, and we just couldn't do that.
I was getting criticized a lot here in Buffalo about not staying in the game and not being, you know, the back that I used to be. And, you know, and when I hear comments like that, I take it to heart because I'm out there trying to do my best. And when I heard that, I just told offensive line, hey, just make sure you try to get your blocks. I'll take care of the rest. And for the last 3 out of the 4 weeks, you know, they've done a great job.
Although we didn't sack him, we felt the most important thing was to get around him. Just let him know that you're there. Pat him on the ass or something, and he'll know that you're there, and that'll disturb him a little bit.
Well, I tell you what, we'll pat the Bills on the back for a heck of a job. And folks, not many people in August said this, but they're for real, and they have a shot to get back to the Super Bowl. 52 carries, 341 yards. That's 7 yards a clip for rushing, most by Thurman Thomas.
I mean, what a day he had, too. And the thing was, we focused a lot on the fact that the Buffalo Bills, we talked about, oh, their defenses carried their team. Well, the offense finally took it to heart. They decided, hey, look, we have some pretty good football players. No matter how you cut up that Buffalo Bill offense, you still have to focus on Thurman Thomas. It's almost a broken record. Every week, everybody says, geez, how do they win? Very easily, Tom. You give the ball to Thurman. 6.3 yards a carry today. Unbelievable.
And anytime you see Thurman having that kind of success, it goes right to the offensive line, and what a job they did today. When you watch this offensive line perform, knock people off the football, you can see that the holes are open, whether it's Thurman Thomas, whether it's Holmes, whether it's Tyndale. Look at the size of the holes that he's going through. And some of this is pick a hole. They run the counter tray here, they come around, but this is basically Thurman now spotting the gap and getting upfield. We'll take a last look here. John Cena and Reuben Brown. This with Tyndale moving down the line. And look at Brown come off his block right there to open up a nice hole and clear a way for Tyndale to get down the football field. And the other thing that I like that they do is that Jim Kelly calls his own plays, does it more than any quarterback in the NFL. That means it doesn't have to go to the booth, come to the sideline, get to him. You come down and you tell him, look, I can get open on the hitch and go. He calls it.
Well, they've been through this before, and they can win at Pittsburgh. They can win at Kansas City. They know how to do this. A postscript. Marino, 33 of 64 for 422, all when the game was over. The 64 ties the most passes ever in the postseason. The 422 is the third highest ever in the postseason. But what does it add up to? Miami, a team built to win the Super Bowl. They got to build them to beat Buffalo first. Right. They've not done that. And here's proof. As we go inside the numbers, since 1987, they played 21 times. Buffalo's won 17 of them. How? Well, they averaged close to 200 yards rushing a game in those 17 wins, and you see the rushing touchdowns. All right, 4 times they got stacked up, including once this year, for not running the ball well. But 17-4 since 1987. I think they get the point. When we return, speaking of getting the point and points, the Eagles against the Lions. Oh, my goodness. We'll show you in a moment.
They say when a cowboy gets thrown, he has to get right back up. Last year, I took my share of hits. I may have been down. But if you think I'm staying down, get real.
Logo Athletic, authentic team apparel.
Honey, where's the remote?
Just use the remote locator, dear.
With Magnavox, you just push a button, and the exclusive remote locator beeps, telling you where it is. At Magnavox, we make technology people want.
Oh. Thanks, hon.
Smart. Very smart.
Time is running out, but there's one last chance at big year-end savings. It's Hyundai's Beat the Clock clearance. Time for up to $1,500 factory cash on an airbag-equipped 95 Elantra. Time for a durable, fun-to-drive 96 Accent. Now just $77.85. And now time for $1,500 factory cash on a luxurious 95 Sonata. It's the biggest event of the year. So beat it to your Hyundai dealer now, because there's no time like the present. Call 1-800-826-CARS for the Hyundai dealer nearest you.
NFL Primetime is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the way to save on collect calls.
Sunday at noon on NFL Game Day, the Falcons' prayers were answered with a playoff berth. But with the worst pass defense in the league, they face former Falcon Brett Favre, who was the NFL touchdown pass leader. In Lambeau Field, where the fans are always supportive.
If I score a touchdown, I want to celebrate. And I'm here to entertain, so, why not celebrate with the fans?
At the Murph, where Marshall Faulk ran wild in college, the Bolts visit the crafty Chargers, who are back in the playoffs once again. For all that and much more, tune in Sunday at noon. Sharp. Well, so the Bills are in the round of 8. Who would make it in the second game today, the Eagles or the Lions? Well, the Lions you would think are a more powerful animal, but not when they played at the vet. We'll be back.
My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June.
The color of the ground was in him, the red earth.
Smack and tang of elemental things.
The red comes near, creeping over hills. November's leaf is red and sere.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Walter Scott.
Edgar Allan Poe. Each changing place with that which goes before.
Nothing inspires quite like red. Ginny Red. Pure inspiration.
Get to the Chevy year-end countdown before time runs out. On great deals like Chevy Lumina for just $229 a month. $229 a month for a Lumina equipped the way you want it, but only for a limited time. A Lumina priced thousands less than Taurus and the imports. An $18,000 Lumina for just $229 a month. $229 a month, but time's running out. The Chevy year-end countdown ends January 8th. See your Chevy Network dealer now.
Sweetest words in the English language after chorus girl. College hoops. Big Mondays here again. Lots of primo games on the tube again. You better wait till I have to hit the John, my friend. El Grande Mondays here again. Hey, school night, schmool night. You better watch or I'll give you a pop quiz right in the kisser, eh? Okay, how was that?
I smell platinum.
Coming up at the top of the hour, the Peach Bowl, Virginia, with Kon-Tiki Barber, hoping to sail over Georgia. Virginia and Georgia. Peach Bowl coming up at 8 Eastern. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Well, the Detroit Lions, after a 0-3 and later a 3-6 start, had roared to 7 straight wins to roar their way into the playoffs with the leading offense in the National Football League and the second most in points scored. Philadelphia Eagles also were hot, not quite that hot. Had gone 1-3, but had gone 9-3 since that point. Good enough to host the Lions today. The Lions, you figure they score way too many points for the low-scoring Eagles, but the Lions had not won a road playoff game since 1957. And, folks, that's some serious excessive baggage. But still, Wayne Fontes' club, they are on a roll. Scott Mitchell, 4,000 yards. Barry Sanders, 1,500 yards. All those receivers. How would Ray Rhodes stop the vaunted Lions offense, Tommy?
Well, Ray wanted to establish defense early on. Mark Millen here on Brett Berman. You see him do a nice job of getting a hand in right there as Berman attempts to make the catch. And then Bobby Taylor on Herman Moore. Good size matchup right there as Bobby Taylor knocks the ball away. Good D early on by the Eagles, Boom.
All right, Tommy, so mid-first quarter, scoreless game, and we wouldn't be able to say that for long. Mitchell, the Brett Berman, off his hands, into the hands of McMillan, and McMillan looking upfield and then finally gets out of bounds, and the Eagles defense brings it down to the 15. One play, the next play, Charlie Garner. Oh, he sprinted to the post. Touchdown, 7-0 Eagles. Late in the first quarter, bad news for the Lions offense. Brett Berman hurts a leg, out on the play, although he gave the thumbs up going off, would not return. On the replay, Greg Jackson hits Berman's right knee. Everyone is concerned. Brett is a gritty guy. And remember that thumbs up sign made famous by Mike Utley and how they responded in 91. Berman tried to get the same thing. And for a while it worked. Mitchell to the rookie tight end David Sloan. The Sloanheads happy. 34 yards. We're tied at 7 after 1. The Eagles field goal makes it 10-7, but on the ensuing kickoff, Alan Williams falls down at his own 12. So the Lions forced to punt, and the high snap, Mark Royals, a shank. And so the Eagles, remember, they score 1. They just had to go 15 yards. Now they're at the 40. Rodney Peete to Ricky Waters. It's a 15-yard gain, and then watch this play, Joe.
This is a beauty. Freddie Barnett is going to go to the corner. Rodney Peete, look at this thing hanging in the air. Watch where it lands. Ah, that's unbelievable. That was so beautiful.
It was, and the Eagles celebrate because look at this. Fred Barnett, does he get up? Oh, man, it's not even a question. It's a dunk. 17-7. Ron Rivers, rolling like a Rivers. Pick it up. Pick it up. Oh, no. We're inside our 10 again. 3 plays later. Mitchell, looking like the Scott Mitchell of September of 94. Picked off by Barry Wilburn, the ex-Redskin. He could go all the way. Touchdown. 24-7. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie ecstatic. What happened here, Joe?
Well, what basically Wilburn's doing is he's just reading Mitchell's eyes. He knows he wants to go to the deep receiver, and he picked it off.
Mitchell goes to Sloan next time they get the ball, and Kurt Gouveia. He is always around the ball, Tommy, and he's done it again.
And now we see the other end of defense reading the receiver. Gouveia here looking back, but he makes a nice play with his hands. A la Bill Russell, tap it up in the air and pull it down.
That was it. The Eagles playing basketball. Dunking, Bill Russell, then Pete to Barnett, down to the 1. Oh, they shortened the field to the defense for the offense. Ricky Waters, running Waters, 31-7 Philadelphia. Remember, it was 7-7 after 1. Under 25 seconds to play in the first half, Pete. It's going to be sacked by Henry Thomas. Wayne Fontes thinks it's halftime, but the Eagles called a timeout. You figure, oh, well, Rodney can't even throw it 50 yards, can he? 3rd and 25. Rob Carpenter catches it on the fly, Tom, for a touchdown.
Yeah, well, I'm going to coach Willie Clay here as we watch this ball in the air, and I want him to knock it down. Knock it down. Knock it down! And he didn't listen to my coaching.
And now the Lions get knocked down. It's 38-7 Eagles at the half. First possession, Philly in the 3rd quarter. Pete to Waters. See ya! It's the same pass, 45-7 Philadelphia. Next Lions possession, Mitchell. What? Picked off by Greg Jackson. 4 interceptions today suffered by Mitchell. The whole city of Detroit suffered. Down to the 47-yard line. Mitchell gets benched. Here were his numbers. Not what they had in mind on his first playoff start. Oh, they played for another quarter and a half, but it was just a formality. The owner and the coach, and see, the coach isn't smiling yet because he knows he's got more business. He's next at Dallas. Lions, oh my goodness. Well, that 1957 sits up there like a sore thumb. 58-37. The Eagles score more points than they do in a month. as they roar over the Lions afterwards. Here's the postgame.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here with Mike Zordich in Philadelphia. The secondary and the Eagles defense shut down Scott Mitchell in that vaunted passing game. 6 interceptions. How did you do it, Mike?
Well, we had a great plan. We had a lot of mixed coverages, a lot of man coverages. We were sending a linebacker at times, and it just worked out great. We executed it very well.
You started the game without linebacker Bill Romanowski in the game and yourself covering one of the wide receivers. Was that the plan all week long?
That was the plan. We're going to try to give some help to their receiving corps because they got some great receivers. So they're going to try to put me out on one and bump them around a little bit. And again, Emmett come up with a great plan. It worked very well.
And you forced Scott Mitchell to his right and put pressure on him at the beginning, and that seemed to rattle him.
Yeah, the pressure really helped. And again, you got to give the linebackers and secondary a lot of credit, holding their coverage. And I think he was a little confused, possibly.
At this point, where would you like to go, San Francisco or Dallas?
Really, Phil, it really doesn't matter. I think this team, wherever we go, we'll take the challenge, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, Mike. Sal Paolantonio here at Veterans Stadium. Back to Chris in the studio.
All right, Sal, certainly an ecstatic Eagle locker room, and they'll be at Dallas if the Packers win. They will be at San Francisco if Atlanta upsets the Packers tomorrow. The 95 points scored in the game, the most by far in the playoffs, the most before was 79, 58-37. And you got to give Ray Rhodes and the Eagles the nod, but Tommy, where was this Detroit team that we were marveling over?
We hear the term total team breakdown so often, I think we forget what it really means. Now you're reminded, but when you watch the Detroit Lions today, when you go in the playoffs, and especially in the other guys' building, you cannot turn the ball over. And today, the Lions had 7 turnovers, 6 INTs, 1 fumble. The first 3 turnovers lead directly to touchdowns. And I think another key as to what we saw in both games today is that championships win defense, and neither the Lions nor the Dolphins have the kind of defense to go on and win a championship.
Well, Tommy, you bring up something really interesting when you say the word championship. I think championship has to do with the fact that you need championship people on the field. Ray Rhodes has been to a Super Bowl. Guy McIntyre has been to a Super Bowl. Emmett Thomas has been there. Kurt Gouveia, Barry Wilburn. The list goes on and on and on. Bill Romanowski. All you have to do is take a look at this Eagle football team. There's a lot of guys that have been to the next level. I'm not talking about the first or second round of the playoffs, Boom. I'm talking about all the way to the big show. And that experience is invaluable. Both Tommy and I have gone through it, and I can tell you, you can't buy that experience. Right. That's what Miami tried to do. And it was a sellout for him. Nothing.
It was a sellout. Ray Rhodes, you could see why Coach of the Year, and even Ray didn't think they would get 58 points in all of the playoff games. But he had his game plan. Let's the defense give us some 40-yard drives, and that happened. But what about Wayne Fontes? There's some people that feel that maybe he should be axed despite the 7 straight wins to get in the playoffs after this performance. What do you think, Joe?
I think the 7 straight wins gave us something to talk about. I think that Wayne Fontes' time as the Detroit Lion coach is over. I think that organization has to move on. You can't start lousy in September and try and make up for it late in the year. You do that year in, year out, you get nowhere. I think it's time for a change. And I love him. I love the guy, but it's time for a change.
No, I don't know about that, but there will be. But certainly the owner had 3 hours to think about that today because they certainly
that was just the second half.
Certainly wouldn't think about winning the game. By the way, now the points scored today by the Eagles are the 3rd most ever by a team in the postseason. Of course, that's 73 to nothing Bears win. That'll probably stand there for a while. The Lions actually had 59 back in 1957. That was the week after they won their last road playoff game, I might add. But look, the next 2 is against Detroit. Wow. Today, that one sticks and sticks and sticks. What a performance by the Eagles and the Bills today. When we return, we're doling out some game balls. We got a lot to think about. Jim Kelly was thinking about home.
This one goes to my mother. She couldn't make the game today, and my game ball is going to my mother, so that's one.
It seems like some portable CD players react to even the slightest bumps. Now, Magnavox offers a portable CD player with electronic skip protection. So, even with a significant jolt, the music doesn't miss a beat. Smart. Very smart. Get a CD carrying case free when you buy select Magnavox portable CD players with ESP. See store for details.
playing in select areas starts Friday everywhere.
New Year's resolution number 1, must watch the Outback Bowl on ESPN. 2 top 20 teams clash in this Thrifty Car Rental Bowl Week New Year's Day matchup. 15th ranked Penn State, led by legendary coach Joe Paterno, march into Tampa to do battle with 16th ranked Auburn and quarterback Patrick Nix. It's Tigers versus Lions at 11 a.m. Eastern, New Year's Day, only on ESPN.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the way everyone can save on collect calls. It's easy. Just dial 1-800-COLLECT from any phone and save.
He may be slight of stature, but he is big of performance. My ball goes to Mark McMillan. What a show the little guy put on, Boom.
What a defensive show to set up the offense. A my game ball, Fina, Reuben Brown the rookie, Ken Holt, Jerry Ostrowski, Glenn Parker. Did they clear some holes today or what?
Yeah,
341 yards rushing for the team, Tom.
And the guy who found those holes, Thurman Thomas, is my primetime player. And he not only did some damage on the ground, he did it in the air as well. We will be back.
Don't forget tomorrow, the second half of the opening round double dip. Game day for a half hour at noon. Prime time, same bat time at 7:30 Eastern time. On New Year's Day, start your bowl coverage with our college pregame, college game day at 10 Eastern. And then the first bowl game, the Outback Bowl. Mike from the Sombrero, Penn State against Auburn. That's 11 in the morning. It's the eye-opener bowl from the Outback. All right, well, we do know this, that on Saturday, the first of the round of 8, Buffalo will be at Pittsburgh, and a head-knocker special, Tom. How do you see it?
Well, we saw a lack of defense today. We will not see that next Saturday from those two teams, and I think the great play will come from the outside. Lloyd and Green, Pop and Smith. There will be a lot of pressure on the pass. We're not going to see 58 points scored by a team. I'll predict it next Saturday.
All right, now Philadelphia goes to, depending on the Green Bay-Atlanta game tomorrow, they go to Dallas if the Packers win, and they go to San Francisco if the Falcons win tomorrow. Can they win that game, Joe?
I think Philadelphia has the ability to win either one of those games. They go to San Francisco. Ray Rhodes was the coach there. He knows that team. If they go to Dallas, remember, Barry Switzer may go for 4th and 1 again. That's something we just have to be looking for. So, yeah, I think that they have an opportunity to do it.
Wait a minute. Philadelphia and Buffalo just scored again. We have to update the scores. For Joe Theisman and Tom Jackson, welcome to the playoffs. I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching Primetime. Bowl game. Peach Bowl next.
And welcome to a jam-packed Georgia Dome, where over 71,000 have gathered for the 28th Peach Bowl, pitting Virginia and Georgia. And for Virginia, today marks an anniversary of sorts. Their first ever bowl appearance came right here in the Peach Bowl back in 1984. Today, they're the ACC co-champs, playing in their 6th bowl game in the last 7 years, and the Cavaliers take the field. For Virginia coach George Welsh, a win today would crown a season that included the biggest win in school history.
You'll know in 4 seconds who wins it. They say he didn't make it. Virginia's upset Florida State.
Well, I was just worn out at the end of the game, you know, and I know I looked, you know, the crowd coming on the field, and just the idea that, you know, we finally stopped somebody on the last play, and it was a great sense of relief in a lot of ways. You know, that we finally won one like that, and then it took a long time to sink in now. It sunk in that night, though. I couldn't sleep. You know, stayed up most of the night.
You didn't hear earlier today, Ray Goff was officially dismissed as the coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, called a negotiated resignation. Cut through the red tape, and he was fired.
Less than a week after his firing, Ray Goff led Georgia to a victory over Georgia Tech, earning a bowl berth and extending his career as Georgia's head coach.
Ryan Sanderson holds, and Parkman tries a field goal. Good! Cannon Parkman hit one with 47 seconds. Sanderson holding, and Cannon...
When it went through the uprights, I don't know that I've ever had a greater feeling in sports than seeing the faces of those young men and what they came back and what they accomplished, because they believed in each other.
Ray Goff and the Georgia Bulldogs. A very emotional day, to say the least. A chance to end a turbulent season on a high note.